Molweni Ekaya. Welcome to the Shady podcast by or from, brought to you by The Real Network.
Yo, she came in with the TV presenter
Of
style.
course. Also, why did you guys put that pressure on me?
You said you want to
I can
intro
set up
us
the
because
channel.
before we actually went live, PH was busy taking calls, telling people, I'm on a production.
Okay, I will answer why. Because you are the guy right now. You are the gal. You are the guy.
Yes, you're the star of the
You're
show.
the star of the show. You are the thorn amongst the roses. That is why today we have the wonderful Lerai in our studio. Welcome.
Yeah.
Yay.
You're the rose amongst the thorns, because Tina, we are not roses, man.
Yes.
No, I'd like, guys, between you and I, what happened before we even started shooting, I was like, boys will be boys. Do you see that
Those bots don't make it on.
I'm the only person that has a mug?
Yo, by the way,
Ask Warras what happened to his.
my one ended up on the floor, my water spilled, and we want to save water here.
And
on
then
the
5
show.
seconds later, PH did the
I
same
almost broke
exact
mine.
thing.
Because, bro, like, look at these mugs. That's what
You guys don't
It's
deserve
a
nice things.
budget.
Kill
Yeah.
crusade.
Yeah, what is
Let
Le
Crusade.
Crusade? You know?
You don't cook, ne?
PH asked for a red cup and I asked for an komish. You know that enamel on. I was like, you hook me up, dog.
The tin one.
Yeah, I got to keep it real.
Yes, we're back with another one. We have the wonderful Lerai in studio, and of course, this is the Shady podcast
With the
real-
PH.
With a PH, you know what it is. What else? What's up, my dog? How are you?
I know, I'm nice, my dog. First guest on the show, Lerai. What's the story?
You are our first guest.
So I just want to know. Soli BEE partner ya Mo Clifton
Yeah,
Farm.
that's my guy, Gareth. I pay the bills out here.
I just work here, fam.
You know how I saw? Jewish Yambona,
Yeah,
Palm Angels. Do you see the Batu? See, I've got the normal Converse on. I'm gonna show you. This is a normal Converse. His is
Since
the
we're showing each other's
Dior.
legs, yeah.
We
Okay,
take
cool.
We
I'll
take
just keep my
it.
feet on the ground
We
in that
take
case.
a
Where?
shesha.
No, come on, please. I'm a well-traveled individual. I've seen the world.
Did you hear that
And,
response? No, please. Come on, brother. Dubai, okay. So,
actually
Lerai, welcome to the show.
you.
Thanks for coming and sitting down with us. So we'll start with who is Lerai, obviously.
The small stuff.
The
Get that
small
out
stuff.
there.
Let's get that out
Okay.
the way.
You want a nice biography?
Yes.
What
Okay.
I know is you are Nickelodeon and you did like a chart show, like music chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the number one for like 10 weeks straight was Baby Shark.
And then and then Coco Melon remix. The piano remix.
Yeah, let me tell you about me first. So I am a creative entrepreneur, a social change maker, and a conversation strategist.
Hey, when?
Those are the 3 pillars to me. That's all you need to know. And a creative entrepreneur. I am a co-director of a company called African Talent on Earth. I run it with my mother. That company manages myself as a talent. But we also, about 7 years ago now, I was starting high school. We took kids from Zimbabwe to a competition in Los Angeles called the World Championships of Performing Arts, which is essentially like the Olympics of the performing arts in LA. And Babutile, they came back. I think a few students got scholarships to New York Film Academy, New York Film Conservatory. It was
Is
a
performing
great.
arts your thing?
I'm just trying to think. This
Yeah,
is like
I
the
grew up
poetry
doing
Olympics.
performing
or-
arts.
No, I'm listening.
Mirror, mirror
I
on
grew
the
up
wall.
doing performing arts, and actually where the business model for that
Sure.
came from was because my mom was watching me participate in all of these competitions, and her being an entrepreneur was like, but Lerai, we can recreate this and take it across Africa. And so we started with Zim, and I guess that was like our proof of concept
Yes.
for what the company is now today and what is going to become. That's creative entrepreneur.
You?
Conversation strategist.
Hey, Ushange
you can
bio.
learn-
Bio, Baba. This is my bio.
No, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna pause it
please,
at that.
please. By the time people, finish with this program, firstly they need to program give me dial.
Your face.
Episode.
Production.
Hey, program. By the time people finish, with the episode, firstly we want people to know who you are, what you're about, So please don't stop. In terms of speaking highly of yourself and the amazing things that you do. I'm a fan of some of the stuff that you do, and I want people, the rest of the world, to know what it is that you do. So please carry on with the bio. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
So
summarize.
wait, that was which heading? Because I feel like it's name and explain.
Entrepreneur.
Okay, creative entrepreneur.
Then conversation strategist,
Right.
which is everything that I talk for a living. right? Whether it is...
And you speak very well, like public speaking vibe.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you
grew
strike
up
me as someone who
doing
could
that.
like take the stage and just give a speech.
She looks like
That
one of
is
those
what I
girls
do.
who had all the badges.
Yeah,
like,
were you a
there's no
prefect at
space.
school?
So I
Head girl.
actually ended up being homeschooled.
Oh.
So I did start at a traditional high school.
Oh.
Changed to homeschooling.
Why
It
did
was
you
a
change to
tough
homeschooling?
decision. I became so frustrated with the traditional schooling system because it felt like they were just milking us for our money and we weren't focusing on education anymore. You know, like
So your parents didn't have anything to do with this decision?
it was a everything that I do, especially at that time, was always a collaborative effort.
Ukoleba nabazali bakho. Your mom, let's collab.
But I think like my mom always instilled in me the notion that like it's your life. So you have to make those decisions. You have the responsibility over that, you know? And I think I'm so grateful that I did it because I actually was holding off homeschooling because I was like, I have to be head girl. And I had to ask myself the big girl question of like, okay, do you want your claim to fame to be once you're 18 years old that you were the head girl of some school that only a few people know? Or do you want to get a kickstart at your career? Well, everyone is being forced to do netball, tennis, whatever as an extracurricular. I can work as my extracurricular. I can define my hours. I was already doing that, you know?
This is at the age of like 14 because you
I
said
was
you started.
15 years old. And then it prepared me so much for university because I work full-time and I still study full-time right now. And it's like, this is what I was doing in high school.
Hey.
That's
So no,
dope.
I wasn't a prefect. That was your question.
Cool. But I wanted to now just kind of was it panda? What is the word that you
Not panda, no.
Meander? No.
Meander,
Off-ramp.
segue.
I see off-ramp. Let's say
Yeah,
off-ramp.
I would
want to
say-
off-ramp.
yeah,
and,
off-ramp.
I want to touch on your social skills. You know, in school, obviously, you know, you're in class. You know, a lot of people who develop a lot of friendships that end up, you know, either being easy for you in varsity. How is it? My take on obviously homeschooling is that obviously you're by yourself and then there's a teacher. How's it been being able to integrate, I guess, socially now that you're at an age where you have to kind of socialize with people? How was that? How was the transition between leaving homeschooling and then getting into varsity, and for the space that you're in now?
What I will say is that in primary school and the beginning of high school, I had no issues socially. I think being papa a bit too much, you know? And I would
That's
also
obviously stopped.
obviously.
Sure.
But what I would hear from my friends actually was like, Lerai, it's like when you're around your friends, but when we're just talking to you one-on-one, it's such a great experience. Like we get to have the real you. And I think I needed to have that isolatory period where actually for my first year being homeschooled, I changed to Cambridge. For my O-levels, I was literally self-taught.
Oh, crazy.
It was just me and my books. I didn't even have
Standard
a teacher.
10.
Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
Sorry, just getting it.
They're called IGCSEs now.
Sure.
But
They're
I was
called what?
just IGCSE.
They're called IGCSEs
But
now.
I was just saying, just for those that know O levels is
Yes.
O
Or
levels.
standard or form.
Yeah, no, I know O levels.
Or grades.
Or grade.
Yeah, I have kids your age.
Sure. Sorry, I've picked up something. Are you closer?
However, my mother's mother is.
Okay. No,
I
your
come from a very mixed family.
Your pronunciation of words was leaning towards my tribe. So I was
Kosa-ish.
There's a lot
kind of
of
getting excited there.
There's a lot of. I'm a mixed masala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the bio. Social
Yes, you're at social. No, sorry,
No?
you are
Social
now
change
at
maker.
social change
maker or
maker.
strategist. Yeah.
We did.
Conversation.
So we were at actually Conversation Strategist.
Yeah.
Kinkari, I'm the one that's keeping track here.
I
your
knew it
bio.
was social something, man.
Yeah.
So
PH, listen more
under
carefully.
Conversation Strategist, I'll say the most recent thing that I've done. I launched it was a baby version of a podcast called Rai Talks, where I use my platform, at the time it was Instagram, my social media, to create a space for young people, particularly Gen Z, to have conversations that are aligned politically and create this political awareness where we're not only paying attention to what's going on domestically, but what's going on around the world and what our relationship is with the rest of the world.
Sure.
I love that.
And essentially what it was for me, it's like I created this thing of doing extra credit work for me because I realized that everything that I was talking about in Rai Talks
Sure.
was what I was learning at school because I'm studying a Bachelor of Political Sciences in international
Hey,
relations.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
And I think sorry to cut you there. That's what drew me closer to your brand. And I was like, geez, for such a young age, you know, well equipped when it comes to the knowledge of obviously world politics, but also just what social change requires. I was like, not that you're punching beyond your age group or your weight, but I was like, for this age, this is not the common conversation to be having. And for her to be consistently talking about, I guess, worldly politics and local politics and what it means to us, I was like, okay, cool. Hit the follow button, share what she's trying to talk about because it's conversations that...
It's conversations that people your age, Lerai, I think if we're honest, don't have.
Yeah.
I don't think it even factors into their daily thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking offline, Uti, where were you on Sunday? You're supposed to come to Paula. She's like, Nika. Nika. What is that? I was right. I was sorry. I had a political science paper to write, and it's not something that, it's something that obviously is in every single fiber of you, which is amazing. So shout out to you. Yeah, man, for a 21-year-old?
21 still.
21 still.
Killing it.
Dude, what the hell? You know how it used to be you got into the game, bro? You'd get into the game, you'd arrive in Joburg on a bus, a Greyhound, and then you'd come here and you'd have to like hustle your way through, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Straight with like a matric. And like for you to just be sharing all this knowledge and dropping these bars, I'm just like, yo, man, I think you've got like the perfect grounding because now you can do what it is you do now and you can still have that background. You still study, obviously. You're still a full-time student.
Sure.
Are you going to hit it with that Bachelor of Arts? Like, are you going to off-ramp and say, cool, let me go and work in the office, the portfolio of what?
So I'll give you a two-pronged answer. A is it's a Bachelor of Political Sciences.
Bachelor of Political Science.
I was very... So I come from a family, both of my parents are in IT, so there's scientific, technological, all of that.
Yes.
And so there was that slight stigma of, there's always the humanities student stigma. And so I was very particular about choosing my degree in that I didn't want to do a Bachelor of Arts, but I wanted something that was extremely academic and theoretical, and I had to do serious academic research. And it's all based on higher order thinking. And that's why I chose a B Pulsi, which is, it's not just
Hey.
I want to say something.
Hey,
part two is essentially because people ask, okay, so you're on TV, you do this presenting thing, you whatever it is, you act, whatever it may be, and you're also studying that, where do they hlangana? Sure. And the answer that I always give is that I want to be a world leader. And so what I'm doing in television and entertainment is building my platform, right? It's building my audience. And I was so fortunate to have a platform like Nickelodeon where I started, and my show was airing across the entire continent of Africa, where kids in Nigeria, Senegal, Mozambique know me, and it's that. But it's I don't take it lightly though, because it's that when kids grow up watching you later on, when I come and say, yo, let's do this thing for Africa, it would have so much more of an impact on them
because they know you from young days.
This is what you call an example.
Yes.
I love.
You know when she said
talk about, but now example.
When she said I want to be a world leader, I was about to say I want you to be a world leader. Where have you been?
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Now example. I love that. In fact, let's
talk about those ones that PH is talking about. No, we're not slandering. But are you aware that the industry you're in, you're very refreshing because bro, no one is pushing the things that you're pushing.
Sure.
So how old were you when you started on Nickelodeon?
I was 18.
18.
Okay.
So you 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
A lot of people find it difficult, and I know this because I've known a few TV presenters in my day. When you leave that space, because you're that kiddie presenter, you now come into the, let's call it the adult space. You still want to present, you want to act, but everybody still sees you as Lerai, the child. And obviously, if you want to be taken seriously, you need to be taken seriously by an audience bigger than the Nickelodeon audience.
Yeah.
Where adults are actually listening to you, and older people, and politicians, other world leaders, let's call them leaders of industry. How do you manage that? Because no one your age is managing it well.
What I will say is that
challenges.
this is still something that I'm grappling with right now because I'm dealing with it live jive, you know? The first part that I will say is that regardless of whether or not I was on Nickelodeon, I still upheld my own values and I was still always Lerai.
You didn't have a Hannah Montana becomes Miley
No,
Cyrus.
no, not at all because...
Well, not yet.
what do you mean not yet when I was...
You should have come to Paula.
No, but ask PH, even when because I do, it's not like I was staying indoors. You will see me at an event here and there.
And well behaved, I must say. I've seen her every single time and it's not a million times, but at every single time where I have seen her out and about, she is extremely well behaved and not consuming anything. She's enjoying the vibe that's been created wherever we are.
This is a brief Lerai gave us
I
before the
didn't-
time.
no,
His
I
parents
didn't
are
pay
watching.
Did I skip a line? No, I didn't skip a line. Got it correct.
I won't lie to you guys. I didn't pay him to say that, you know?
And she gets home before 12 o'clock.
That's it.
I know.
Correct.
That's not true.
No, look, no. The honest truth is we've only heard good things about you.
Sure,
And like,
sure.
look, we're not that many episodes deep, but PH and I have made it very clear because we've been in this game for a long time.
Sure.
So girls like you, they get snapped up, they land, and then they're all over the place.
Gone.
And I'm not knocking anyone or like hating on anyone. I'm just saying it because it's what happens. It's easy to get consumed by the lifestyle. You make that, you coming from homeschool, a lot of girls, it's like church girls, bro.
Sure.
You know, the stigma or the what is it called? The stereotype that's
Sure.
attached to them is as soon as you get on, you're going to use your looks and your beauty to get to places.
Yeah. Sure.
And unfortunately, it just would seem everybody falls into that trap. So we know about you and all we know is good things. That's a genuine thing.
I wanna
Keep it
ask-
like that.
keep it like that.
Because now I like you now. If I hear other stories,
Hey.
me
No,
and
you
you.
won't. Also, you guys are now my big brothers, so you
Shout
must...
Hey, you
box
must.
the people.
I don't know if you know they're on Nickelodeon, but when Warras pulls out, hey.
You would come across to your peers, and of course, obviously the gender as intimidating, purely based on you've obviously got a solid head on your shoulders. You know, have you found it difficult to, if you are into the dating thing?
She's
I know-
smiling behind the La Crusade Cup. The La Crusade Cup is concealing a smile. Mom and Dad, this is
I know
completely
mom-
unsanctioned.
Look, mom and dad, Hadi. No, I'm just saying, have you, and I'm asking in the nicest fashion.
Ask it straight up, ibuze.
No, I want to give context.
Yeah.
PH is very nice. Let him
yeah.
cook. Cook, PH.
Let me land.
Let him land.
Let me land. What I want to find out, obviously, like you come across as intimidating in your dating. If you have, how has it been? Or do you struggle to find someone who understands the things that you want and someone who's on the same kind of journey as you, especially at 21? Like I would find it me at 21, I was rocking. Okay,
Of course.
we're rocking. But do
PH
you
is
find it-
asking like
But
he's
it
going to
paid
ask you
off
to
though.
go to
It
the
paid
matric
off though.
dance. It's like,
Yeah.
so I don't know, but because my uncle has a M3, we can pull
Were
out.
you that guy?
I was a late bloomer. Big. No, I was a late bloomer. I don't know why I want to
Late
talk about.
bloomer.
Yeah, I was a late.
Yeah.
I
Are we
did everything.
believing
No, he's the sweetest dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to find out, like, is dating difficult for you? Are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? What's the challenge?
I'll start off by saying that I have an extremely small dating pool.
Okay.
By virtue of my values, who I am, and the way that I carry myself. It already, that intimidating element, it already shoos people away. And we need that because I cannot be accessible to any.
Gotcha.
That
Sure.
intimidating thing is actually called, it's a weird term. Nobody seems to understand anymore. It's called morals.
No. Okay.
Spelled
Okay.
Morals.
done.
Oh my! You
Done.
learn something new every
Done.
day.
I know.
Done.
It's a word that's been around since the Bible. But
Yeah.
the word's been forgotten along with that book because who knows Satan
my
in
God.
the streets.
And
But
Kona,
anyway.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, boss.
Sure.
You know the story, Lerai. Hey. Anyway,
So that's
you were saying.
I do have a small dating
Okay,
pool.
cool.
And okay, to everybody that's watching, please don't say Utsing girls Jela. I think
Yay, don't worry about
Jelly.
that.
Don't worry. Yeah.
You work hard. Okay,
Yeah.
you pour a lot into yourself.
And I
if you're
think,
yeah.
when it comes to I think what my standards are, what I've
Sure.
seen, and in terms of what a relationship, I don't date just for the sake of dating. Everything that I do has to have purpose attached to it.
So you don't date for clout.
Or
No,
survival.
like if I'm dating
Or survival.
somebody, I have to see them as somebody that I would get married to.
Sure.
Now already, cling, gone.
Bonke.
All of you are off the list.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, were we on the list to begin with?
Not me.
my brother.
Ah,
my
she
brother.
said it, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Sbatala, please.
We are your big brothers. Stop it, Lerai.
Exactly.
Sure. Cool.
And so, that already has eliminated a few people. But what I will say, it's so funny that you guys are asking me this question because it's like for the past 3 weeks, that has been one of the main conversation topics with my friends, with like my colleagues at work.
Sure.
It's like, Lerai, we are jola, whatever,
Sure.
And I think it may also be due to the MTV transition because
Sure.
I'm now at MTV base, right? And so I'm
Oh, so at
older
MTV
now.
base you must date.
You know what it is? I think people no longer just
Hi.
see me as a kid.
Sure.
It's now like,
Adult.
oh wait, she's a young woman.
Gross.
No,
You
but
know?
it is an MTV based curse. People have been asking
You
Sizwe
think so?
Dlomo that since apartheid. Are you dating?
No, do you know why? Do you know why we would obviously kind of lean towards such a question, and especially considering the conversation that we're having now?
Because the boys our age are fucked up.
The boys at your age are extremely fucked up.
And I can't do that thing of dating someone that's 10 years older
Please
than
and
me.
thank you. Né? And you know about the 7
Oh,
Bs, right?
10, I mean,
Books
yeah.
before boys because boys bring babies.
Put it there.
What's the bees?
Books before boys because boys bring babies.
7, what's it called?
7
The
Bs.
70s.
7
Bs.
deadly sins. You see, we on a whole biblical vibe here.
So-
It's boys before boys.
So what for me, it's just like obviously support.
Pipey.
Look, you have and sound like you have a great support system, but obviously now that you growing into a wonderful woman, you want to have kind of like a support system that's not just your friends, that's not just your parents, So having a partner, that's why I was asking you what kind of partner. I'm not asking what kind of partner you look for, but does
Your
it become
questions
a
are
challenge?
very loaded.
It's not loaded,
I
bro.
can
Can we do
answer
this,
it.
Lerai,
I
moving
can
forward?
answer it.
Call me your big brother and PH your uncle. Because you come with the uncle
Malume
style.
PH, I'm
Malume.
calling, man.
Yeah. So for me, it's just like those things matter, and I think obviously whether you leave this platform, whether you leave
This production.
this program, it's it's something to think of. But I'm sure it's something that you think of anyways.
You know what's so crazy?
Sure.
Is that
He tried to DM you yesterday.
no.
Okay.
It's so like
Ooh,
I
show me the
actually-
DM now.
I actually think I met like my future husband 2 weeks ago.
Is the first thing
Where's
he
your
said?
phone?
What is the first thing
Where's
he
your
said?
phone?
She has it.
It's fine. We
Where?
want to see the messages.
Woman in tech.
No, I'm not
Woman in
going
tech.
to woman in tech.
Women in tech.
Are we calling her ghost? I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
What does
Women
it
in
say?
tech.
Wait.
Women in tech.
She says there's a DM there that just says the coil is on another level.
On the highest level.
Hey, can I tell you what the
Koala is on the highest
He's
level.
not. He's not from here.
The koala is on the highest level.
He doesn't know the coil.
He doesn't know that Koel. He's not from here. Okay, wait. We're not talking about this person specifically, but Sia Shunje Guti, the type of
we have
person.
landed now.
Well,
Let's talk about him.
PH is trying to narrow down who you're looking for as an uncle, right? Because
The koala
obviously.
is on the highest
And let me
level.
Oh,
tell
because
you why.
they're gonna have
Lerai,
to be
listen.
bringing the cows to him.
Yes,
ne?
but also we're not doing it because like we're attacking you or putting you on the spot. Let me tell you, we've been around for a long time. You are such a rare
You can't be
beauty,
damaged.
right? You cannot like bruh, I'll be upset, eh? If I must hear something about Lerai, I'm going to phone PH and then I'm going to pull up.
Sure.
Because it's like, you can do so much. You're so intelligent. You're so beautiful. You're so talented.
Sure.
A lot of the time, it just doesn't
A lot of
last.
guys
And
just-
that's not you. I'm just saying, the game, it's like the game does it to people.
A lot of guys want to attach themselves to that,
Dude.
and usually taint it. That's what usually happens. It's like,
They
oh,
do.
she's great. She's the let me go.
And sometimes
next thing-
you'll fall for it because, like I said earlier, lifestyle.
May I pipe in?
Please pipe in.
What I would owe that to ukuthi ngikhulisiwe, and I will have to say that
Shout out Mamzo.
Mama no
Shout out
baba.
Pops. Shout out Auntie. Shout out
Malu.
because
Yeah,
it
Malooms.
really is a community, hey. But what
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say is
yeah.
that my principles and my values are what lead me in
Sure.
everything that I do, and that's why I think I would have entered the industry way sooner.
Got you.
But I needed to make sure that I was grounded as a human being, and
ready.
my personality was developed,
Sure.
you know, to be able to say no to those things. I mean, before Nickelodeon even before I was even a thought in Nickelodeon's mind, I already did not drink, I did not smoke, I did not.
Magali.
So it's like I entered that type of brand, not having to change myself at all, because I just
You were actually
happened
just
to
yourself.
fit it, you know.
Sure.
And I still am the same. And so what I will say to you is, please don't worry about that.
No, I'm here now.
Okay, wait.
You don't worry
I want to
about it.
ask. So every time I see you out and about, you're with Yams. Is he your brother or?
Not biologically, but
Okay.
that's my famo right there.
Because I'm just like, hey, political wara piano. How are you? What are you?
If you actually look at it and you
Sure.
look what we're about, like, you'd understand, no man, it makes sense that these two are friends. First of all, we have like it's a genuine friendship beyond everything, and we
Okay.
really like pour into each other's lives.
Okay.
We're both Christian,
Cool.
and you know we offer. We're like guiding blocks for each other, you
Sure.
know, especially navigating this industry as a 21-year-old. We're both the same age.
Because at your guys' age, you guys are doing
Have achieved a
extremely
lot.
well. Yeah, he's.
And that's why I'm saying, do you see why it makes sense?
Yeah, yeah.
International shows. But before, I think by the time he was 19 years old, he was a Summer Award winner.
Yes.
Multi-platinum
For-
selling already.
By the time he was,
Venom and Shishiliza song, ne?
No.
No?
This was something. We're not going to talk about that because
Okay.
there's other
Hey,
thingies
hey,
there.
Akunama
PH,
split
wow,
sheets.
keep on my
Then
file.
there come a
The
split
awards
sheets.
and the
Clear
thing,
bomb.
we ask you.
There was no split sheets. We spoke about split sheets before. Yeah.
But yeah, in like the past 2-3 months, he's done 2 official. Like, look at me. I'm selling my friend. Like,
You're selling
I
your
did this the
friend.
other day as well.
Konjo, what's the song? Twin.
Exactly. Did the official remix to Made for You.
And then Kelly Rowland.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out Yams.
So like that's. I mean, if you look at the company that I
royalty,
roll
yeah.
with, like,
Okay.
Yeah,
it
you
just
seem
it
to be
makes
surrounded
sense.
by like-minded people, but it's also
You have
nice to
to.
hear you're both young.
Yes.
You are like a point of reference for each other to
Yes.
say, yo, don't fuck up.
Yes.
You understand? Let's.
But how are
Focus,
you
yeah.
not siblings? You guys look like the
How are you not siblings?
the-
So
no, man.
Yams
the-
has a sister that
Yes.
has dreadlocks.
She's your twin, dude.
She's not.
Where have you been?
We're just black and we have dreadlocks. So
She's like,
Nobody.
He has this problem. On previous episodes, he's displayed similar offensive behavior.
No problem.
Yeah, no, bro. So, no relation, but
None
friends
whatsoever.
like
Yeah.
a brother.
Okay, cool.
Is he the only friend, I was going to say, like in your circle of friends, are they all like you and Yams? Or is there, like, do you basically, because you said you kind of stay under the radar, you don't go out,
Yeah.
you don't
She
drink,
does.
you don't smoke. Those are some of the things where the pressure comes from, is because friends want to say, Asam
Yes.
Ben.
Yeah.
And then she's
Yeah.
hanging around piano niggas.
No.
Piano niggas, I don't
Piano
want to say it,
niggas.
but piano niggas. Oh, piano
I'm
niggas.
hungry, dog.
You know what I mean?
Can I tell you what's so crazy is like we have the moments where like you guys are all chilling at the crib or whatever. We always have, especially like the family that we've created with Uyams and like all our
Yes.
other friends. Is we really have serious conversations with
I like
each other.
that.
We talk about life. We talk about the future of our careers. Dog, you should be doing this. They're like, Lerai, but this, you should be da-da-da-da-da-da, you know?
good.
And it's so great to, within a friendship, because that's like that specific friendship circle is the only one that understands and is going through the same thing that I'm going through, you know? I will say, however, that at times I do tend to take on like the anti-role. Like, but no good I Lerai when you are bora.
You're slowing us down. We want to rock.
You know? But it's, I think the biggest thing though is that we speak so much into each other's lives, and there's no jealousy, there's no, you know, and I would implore everybody to find a friendship circle. Keep it tight as well, but that like where you guys speak into each other's lives and you really contribute and add so much value to a point where you can point out each of the milestones and say, dog, we spoke about this, you did that. Because that's what I experienced.
Let's go back to your very long bio. Love it. So we've touched on
paragraph 3.
Where we sentence number 2 now, where we?
No, we were at social
change maker.
Change maker.
Then there was a strategist. Then there was this, that. And then
communication.
Then you said that's one of 3 pillars. What are the?
So we've done 2 out of the 3 so
far. What's the third one?
The third one is social change maker, which is,
what is that?
You know, so you
social worker.
No, because actually you always ask me.
Which is special focus.
Sure.
Take us through there.
Sure.
You ask me the questions of, Lerai, no, because I know you do the CSI stuff. You do the, you know. What I will say is it is very much aligned to what I'm studying, but also it's who I am. There's always going to be some sort of community outreach or some sort of work and some sort of impact that I want to have on my community that has always been me, that will always be me.
Who's your community? Do you mean like back home? You mean like
it's any community. It could be it depends on what project we're working on at the moment, you know. So for instance, when I was in matric, that 2020, I was in matric.
Lockdown.
Lockdown.
Do you know where I was?
Final year.
Yesterday.
So at that time, many years ago, there was a show called Lockdown House Party. See you in matric in 2020.
Sure.
And we were all sitting at home. My friends and I were like, yo, what, like, we have a few resources, or we're sitting at home, we can't go to school. There's other people in this country that are suffering, and probably like, you know, like, what can we do? We saw,
and they were sitting at home too.
Exactly.
Best fun.
Everybody was sitting at home, and we were like, okay, so let's see, like, who can we call? Who can we ask to see, like, what can we do? That was the initial question. And we ended up putting together this campaign called 1,000 Girls Campaign, where we raised funds for sanitary and hygiene packages for 1,000 refugee women and children in South Africa. Why?
Power.
Because refugees were being kicked out of churches, out of centers.
Yeah. I remember people weren't allowed to stay in what they deemed places of safety.
And we noticed, you know, aid was going to a lot of different groups of people, but we found that there was a gap there. And we were like, okay, well, let's try and do something. We did that over the course of a year and a half, 1,000 Girls Campaign. And we reached our goal within a year. It was literally a thing of, okay, when school does open, ask kids to bring pads and all of that. Ask your parents, okay, your dad works at this company, ask them to do this. It was putting together resources, you know, what can you have? Open a social media page. But we learned so much from that because we were very intentional about not just picking up the product and just dropping it off, but we went into these refugee communities in Joburg. And we spoke and spent time with the people. And I saw how, and this was just my friends and I saw how we learned so much from them. And it was just this beautiful exchange. And I think what was even more beautiful was the fact that it was South Africans with other Africans. And there was this dialogue that was created, you know? And so that's just an example of one of the things that I've done. But in things like that, I've learned how to be a project manager. You know, I was applying my skills of production somehow in that as well. All of that, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things that I've done. There's a whole bunch of other stuff and more things that I will be doing. I won't go into it too much, but it's something that's near and dear to my heart. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, and I take that very seriously.
No, I'm very happy to hear that because I'm thinking about what I was doing when I was in matric. Fair enough. I wasn't stuck at home.
Slaying the base.
But bro, that was very far from.
You were a base layer.
Talk to me about the industry because I think, you know, higher order thinking. I think you can comment on what do you think? Why more girls and guys your age, like we touched on earlier, you know, my piano boys, why are more of them not more like you and less like the other version? You know, that pressure, that industry pressure. Why is it that, like, is the way that you are and like, is that frowned upon or something? Because I think it's pretty cool. Like, I think you're pretty cool. And I'm pretty cool myself. Do you know, like, I don't get how, you know, some people think, I used to think that it's because you want to be cool and you want to be in these spaces and you want to be that guy or that girl. But it's like, you are doing this and you're doing quite well for yourself.
So the first thing is, I wouldn't want to phrase it as why aren't they more like you, because it creates this narrative of, okay, there's something that they are lacking or whatever. You know, I don't like comparing people in that sense, because what I will say is that by virtue of the fact that I do have friends that are in the industry and they're like-minded, you know, it means that they are doing their thing like that. Maybe you're not seeing it, you don't know what it is, but for me it's about the character, it's about who you are as a person. And on that note, there are a lot of people that I align with in that sense. These guys are grinding, you know? And so I guess the main thing would have to be exposure, because that is what I was afforded. And it wasn't a lot of exposure.
So it pays to
but
paid in exposure.
It paid an exposure, my boots. and you were paid at the same time. I told you very
let's not get into it. But I
Sure.
had a single mother who raised me, who was an entrepreneur, who decided to leave corporate when I was still a kid, because she wanted to rather take the route of running her own company with her business partners, sacrificing that because she wanted to also have the time to raise me. She sacrificed so much for me as well. I think looking at, and this is what I mean by the exposure, is that the values that my mother had was like, she never bought... like imali yakhe wasn't going on ama handbags, on ama what on izinto ezimnandi for it. She was paying for my drama classes, for my school fees, for bond, for moto, for yonke into. On top of that, she still has other family members, you know. And I think by virtue of looking at
Mamzo,
that,
I just want to take
always,
the time.
I'm sure the internet is so tired of me talking about my mom.
I just want to take the time to say shout out to you for every single effort, for all the sacrifice. Hayi shem.
Usebenzile,
Nambushayile. Hayi no.
Ukhulisile,
Shout out to Mamzo.
See with me, kiddo.
And I think that's what a healthy relationship sounds and looks like. So yeah, shout out Mamzo.
And that exposure. But what I will say, one of the biggest things, and I always, anytime I have a conversation with the parent, right? And usually it starts with me trying to convince them to get their kids to homeschool. But that's another story for another day. I always say that, because this is what my mom did to me. Because she had me when she was 25 years old. And every time she learned something at work while she was going through a life lesson, she applied that in her parenting technique with me. So I remember, I think she was around 30, 31 years old, and she's working with this big client, but she was into self-help books as well. And so she's reading on this thing called Crucial Conversations. And so she's learning how to have crucial conversations,
and
right?
then she comes and
at the same time, she's teaching me that. So now I'm learning soft skills at the age of 7 years old that somebody at the age of is learning and dealing with. And so by virtue of doing that, you're giving your kid a head start. It's the same thing as kids of billionaires. Like, they're exposed to so much. They already have a head start, not because of the money that's in the bank, not the trust that they have, but because of the exposure to to life and the way that you maneuver life.
Do you know what? That's actually cool. That's when you learn and apply.
Yep.
What happens is people learn. Like, if you look at social media now, if you're scrolling, there's so many of those, those chats where it's like this psychologist, that psychologist giving these, and then people will flip and like send it to each other, send it to you and be like, PH saw this thought of you, brother. But where now you're not actually applying it in your own life. You're just listening to all the shit. Maybe it's overload of information, but I think something that's very important what your mom taught you. I hope you also do that. Like, learn and apply. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point?
I want to find out, have you been able to, I'm assuming now, with the jobs that you've kind of gotten for yourself and the work that you've gotten for yourself, through the community that you mentioned or through your immediate circle, or, have you been able to, there's this thing called black tax that we struggle with as black people. And, you've kind of now relieved your mom from the pressure of, paying towards you and I guess your efforts. Do you not find yourself now having
Pressure.
friends, family, whatever it is, looking to you as the source of opportunity, income? Have you faced that challenge, or do you face that challenge?
It's a common black people thing that if you're on TV,
but
people
also,
assume
the misconception is that you're on telly. I mean, there's a conversation about radio fees. About
watch out
radio
for that
fees.
one.
People.
Or what's it? The SABC one questions that they ask you.
So it's there's obviously this misconception that once you're on a platform, the money's just coming in, And like you said, your mom had to pay for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then still pay for you. And I guess now I'm assuming that pressure is on you. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say it's tough is because I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with it.
I'm just a girl.
Right. I really am just a girl, PH.
You
I'm
said
just a
your mom
girl.
owns her own business and she's only 46. Calculated that.
Yeah, no, trust me. When she said 25, I was like, I was like,
Single
hey, single mother. Hey, what's good?
Uh-huh.
Hey, what's smart?
Yes, sorry, you were saying.
Okay, you were saying something.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
I was saying because your mom's only 46, has her own business. Is it not less with you because at least umama uyasebenza, you know? Or is it still like, do you find it similar? Or
So what I will...
Sorry, I don't think we asked. Do you have siblings?
I don't. I'm an only child.
Okay. Cool. Sure.
You're perfect.
From my
What's
mom.
happening
From
here?
my mom. I do have a sister from my dad.
Sure.
A little sister. I will say that we just weren't raised together.
Okay, cool.
Okay. But in your household, it's you and your mom.
Yeah, it's just myself. So I was saying that it's tough because I'm now starting to feel it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to come to a public platform and talk about the
Hey, gosh, my
black
cousin.
texting because
No, I think Yeah.
What I will say though, Uguti, you have to figure out how to do it. And one thing that I think I want to do is not, because it's one thing to just give somebody money,
Spoon
right?
feed, yeah.
And there's that element of spoon feeding, but perhaps you're enabling certain behaviors,
Sure.
right? And I never want to do that. I would much rather equip you with the skills or make sure that you're in a position where you're equipped with the skills. So I'm at a place where right now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I create opportunities for my friends and my family where they're able to upskill themselves, where they're able to have the platform to actually, fulfill their purpose in life as well, because yes, it may not be just about the money or but so that's what I'm dealing with right now in terms of how do I create something
You're
like
shifting the ask in terms of its financial.
You're teaching people how to fish instead of giving them a fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, encouraging them to do it.
To do it themselves.
Because I mean, look, it's a common conversation with a lot of people, not just whatever. I think when you're in a position of affordability or affording, you become the source of assistance. So I think for me, it's just like a lot of people don't have the opportunity to talk about ways in which how you can kind of fix or change the narrative, because it's usually as opposed to
the way you can change it is actually the creation of opportunities. I think people are so used to handouts, that spoon feeding, where it's like, it's your duty, you must send money home.
Yeah.
It's like, no, let me send money, we build something at home, and then we operate.
Yeah.
And I think that's way more effective than just giving them the money, because however
But
many days.
that's. I like that you mentioned creating opportunity, because that's how you test it. I have family, I won't say where, but there's land there, right? And I was like, this land, it comes at a cost, the land.
Sure.
It's been in the family for a long time. It comes at a cost in terms of, because we still own the land, there's rates and taxes payable on the land, but the land does nothing, it's just grass.
Sure.
Okay? And I was like, what about if we take this land, like someone's going to have to volunteer. You understand? Instead of me us, the ones that are paying, sending money to service this thing, this land is valuable. I need to bring back the land. And I looked at something, something random. Like it took me an afternoon of Googling and asking a few people. And the suggestion that was made is, why don't you try rabbit farming?
Sure.
So to cut a long story short, it was very basic. It was like, PH, you're going to go stay there, cuz, so I don't have to cover your portion.
Sure.
All you have to do is feed these rabbits, give the rabbits water, because all the other stuff will be there.
Yeah.
Are you cool with that?
Stories.
Then it's like, okay, so you're still a benefiter of this thing. You don't contribute to so that entitlement kind of like, it basically pissed me off. And then I was like, well, fuck this, I'm not fucking paying. Because where does it end, you know? And I thought I'm creating an opportunity. I feel like a lot of the time, even when you create those opportunities, a lot of people don't want to take it. Because it's easier to just receive the money. Somebody else will do it.
Sure.
I'm going to say TV.
Sure.
I'm going to Warras from Live M.
Sure.
That
But
type
Warras,
of...
you're touching onto something that speaks to our community, or should I rather say our society, and how we are as South Africans, because I do experience
Entitlement.
or observe that, whether it be entitlement or this thing of not wanting to work or whatever, you know. And I realized that, and this is why I started Rai Talks, is because we need to upskill ourselves.
Sure.
We need to make it a norm to have abantu abafana no Lerai, because I am so unsatisfied with the notion
With having
the
three
fact
friends. God be proud.
Dog, like, can we all just be? No, but in all seriousness, it can't be that Lerai, you're so different, Lerai, you're rare, because I don't think that there's anything really special that I'm doing. It's really just, okay, there's a principle, follow that principle, execute it, move on to the next
Let
step.
me make it
Do
easy
you know
for
what
you.
I'm saying?
I used to be special. At my age,
Special
you have
a
3
little bit.
friends. Me, I have 2 friends. PH and this guy. What's your name again? Sounds easy. Your circle almost doesn't get bigger. And I don't know why. I don't have all the answers, right? But there should be more Lerais. I wish there was more Lerais. There isn't more Lerais.
Don't you think that if we created a norm of critical thinking, of that higher order thinking, of not just, okay, what am I doing with my hands, but if everybody thought about themselves and the world in a certain way.
Pick me.
Enter.
My colleague over here called me classist recently.
Why?
When I blamed the education system.
No, but
I
it
did.
is that. It
Yeah.
is that.
It was
And
the way he
called
framed
me?
the statement.
Yes.
However,
Sure.
what he was saying was,
What he was
I
saying
don't know
was
what he
one-
said. Let me not.
Bro.
Please don't say Khore, I'm backing him up. That episode, or if it was in real life,
No, this
that's
is a
probably
magic
true.
place.
this
Don't
is-
worry. You'll see what he said.
Carry on.
And I do think that I'm so glad that we've gotten to this point, because it's election year, and I think that we've gotten to a point where we're so many years, how many decades into this new
Dude,
Dude,
democracy.
you did watch the episode, because that's exactly what he said.
Sure.
He said
I
like the
didn't-
importance is highlighted now that we're in this election year and election season.
Exactly.
If you follow it, you'll know that like it's really dramatic. And not enough people pay attention to it, which is what PH was saying, is that like, are people really educated enough? You know, like, isn't that where the problem is?
Yeah,
we
it's
touched
the-
on it lightly.
Because the whole Bantu education system was created, and all of it is about keeping people in a worker level. You can never advance. They took so much out of the curriculum because it was, what are Africans going to be doing with this level of education?
They were
It's
teaching
for the
people how to
that
read
are,
like labels
you know,
on clothing.
and how much of that has changed looking at what is in our education system now. Not much, because our new democracy, our new government didn't really invest in it in that way.
Well, not much, because you can't say it because you're new here, but because the place is run by idiots. Remember,
And
we are led by people, and this is very important. Lerais are rare, okay?
Sure.
Warras and PHs are also rare. The millions at home, there's rare ones in between them.
Yeah.
But the leaders are imbeciles. They've proven it time and time again. We are led by people who are not smarter than us. And I don't mean us sitting here. I mean, like, I've lost all hope. That these people have got the intellect or the foresight to see these things. Otherwise, the place wouldn't be
They
a
would be
shithole.
changed.
that's the
Yes.
rhetoric that we have in this country, though, and it's great. I completely agree with it. I stand by you. However, it's still pointing fingers. You see, I found it
But they're
so
the ones in
interesting.
charge, Mos. They don't want to
My
give
man,
us a gap.
I think what she's
Oksalayo,
saying-
you're still pointing fingers because you live in a country that is democratic, which means that you have the power to decide who goes into power, what they do. but also to hold them accountable. Right? Now, I'm not going to go into it too much, but the way that our political system is set up creates this imbalance because we have a system whereby, because it's a party system, everybody that is put into those positions is not accountable really to their people, but more so to the parties that put them in those positions of power, right? That's a Rai Talks episode.
Yes,
shameless plug.
What it is though is that because for the past few weeks, I've been asking my peers, people my age, yo, did you register to vote?
Did you register?
Not who. Did you register?
register?
And so many people are like, nah.
I
So how on earth are you going to complain about load shedding, about wara, ing. But you don't even recognize and realize the power or the privilege that you have to exercise your vote and what it means.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, yeah, but it's just me that's not voting. There's how many other millions of people that are saying that.
Sure.
And if you understood how our political system worked, I'm so sorry, I'm passionate about
Let's
this.
go.
I'm
Let's
almost
go.
done.
Man.
If you understood how our political system worked, you would know that by virtue of, okay, if you are registered to vote and you don't show up to do it, where do those
votes
go?
Where? Where do they go?
Load shedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They go to the
on the
people
point
that
you
are
made
there.
earlier, right?
Yeah.
Just here in your paragraph, I was going to ask. You know, when you ask young people and you say, "Oh, or did you register to vote?" Why do you think they don't care?
I think it's because they're not okay. I do think that we are very lazy in the sense that we don't actually go out and try and read. Like I spent for when voting registration was open, I would post up the link to go and vote, but I was also DMing it to my friends. They were like, yo,
you're
dog,
paid.
you know what? I kept seeing this link to thingy, but only when you sent it to me. It's like I have to spoon feed you and tell you to go and register to vote. Something that you have your phone in your hand. You're scrolling through TikTok anyways. Can't you just go online? Go to the websites and register. You're lazy in that sense. Can you just okay, how are you complaining? This is what I'm saying. It's that thing of pointing fingers. How are you complaining about your situation, but you're doing nothing to fix it?
There's no action.
I'll tell you this. I'll make this admission because I feel like I can trust you and I look in your eyes. I complain a lot. I do fuck all. I don't do anything about it. I really don't. Lerai is right. I'm one of those people.
Can I employ
because you come from
you?
a point of privilege. You can afford.
Do I?
Do you think so?
No. It's about affordability. If you didn't
Yes,
feel,
because my life really isn't affected. Like, either way.
if you didn't, I've always said this. Until you feel the actual the brunt, or I don't know what the term is, or the effect of the mismanagement or the whatever of this country.
Besides load shedding, which I don't even get
because now
we've got generators in my building.
But you see, that's the point of privilege I'm talking about.
Brother.
Warras Do You Read?
I watch YouTube videos.
So there's a book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now.
Rappers, but
It's called
lack thereof.
There's a book by
there's a
Eckhart
book,
Tolle called The Power of Now. Blank this man over here.
a book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now.
And there's a statement in there which is so extremely powerful. It says that when you realize that your reality is based off of the decisions that you've made, everything that is in your reality now, even the fact that you drove over a pothole and your tire got flat. Yes, you didn't put that pothole there, but that's your reality. Now you have to go buy a new tire. You created that reality for yourself.
Damn, that's so
You have
profound.
the power to change that reality.
And I'm glad you told me, because when you told me the name of the book, I wasn't going to go read it. But that quote that you've just hit me with now, A, it's very true. B, what's it called?
Eckhart Tolle is the author. Power of Now.
The Power of Now.
Warras.
If more people read, I don't read. I won't lie. I'm guilty of it. I do consume a lot of information. But I think the
This
last
is
book
TikTok
I read
rabbit
was
holes.
Which
To Kill a
information are you
Mockingbird.
consuming? Labona Luna. Can I tell you something? And
Because I
I've
was in
said this.
Matric in 2020 as well.
I've said this
And
before.
that was our set workbook.
Have you ever heard that thing where they say, if you wanna hide, you hide information from a black person by
in a
putting
book.
it in a book. All the secrets to
That's where I'm
life
gonna put money in my house.
are in a book. Don't put it in your couch, dog.
Why don't-
Everybody's gonna find the millions in the couch. They found it.
But reading...
Put it in the book.
Dog!
Put it there. Put it there. Put it there. Don't leave me hanging. There we go.
I mean,
Sure.
it wasn't millions, but how much was in your couch?
Yeah. Oh.
Why don't more people read? Because reading is boring. If hard, boy. Let's keep it real, dog.
I think reading.
Do you read, PH?
Thingy books, ebooks.
E-books?
That's still a book.
No, but no, either that or
Audiobooks.
audiobooks. Sorry, audiobooks.
That's still a great.
Okay. I mean, I've
I
got my attention span issues. So
Yeah.
reading a book, I'm gonna read a paragraph, then I'm gonna think of, then I get lost. So, but if I could listen to something, it's even better.
Well, I do that. I listen to a lot of podcasts, not like
That's
all the
not
fun.
a book,
No.
No, but listen,
I-
let me
I-
You're
finish.
listening to
do-
people's opinions.
Yes.
I do audiobooks.
Read a book.
But I knew that quote already about hiding a black man in a book.
The only time I read is when I've got minimal disruptions, which is usually on a flight. So I will always have a book, or I'll get a lot of work done when I'm on a flight. Versus, again, the busy, I don't want to say busy lifestyle, but because
It
I'm
is
in a million
busy though,
places
yeah.
at once.
Look, I would also read when I was on flights. But the thing is, the only flights I take go to Durban and back 1 hour.
Get some curry there.
I read the back of the biltong packet. Kilojoules.
Have you heard what he said?
I'm just
No, but
I'm just
then-
talking
no,
shit. But a
actually-
lot of what
no.
you're saying, no. I don't want you to feel like I'm making what you're saying, taking what you're saying lightly. There is someone that I do listen to who says a lot of things that we're discussing on today's show, and he doesn't get the shine. And the reason I make mention of him is because he was in that caucus of people who are supposed to be leading us the right ways. Moletsi Mbeki. He's
Okay.
Thabo Mbeki's brother. And I've listened to hours and hours of that timer. It's not opinion. He comes with facts and he says, this is
that's
because
a
of this
great-
and this is
yeah.
because of that. And when you listen to what he's saying, he's kind of got the whole design down to say, yo, this is where the problems come from. And if we could fix X, Y, and Z, one of them is education. He's really big on that. It's like, do people that are voting know enough about what they're doing to make that, to cast that vote? Because last time when PH and I were speaking about it, we said, how do you vote for yourself? As in me, I'm voting for Warras there living in where I live.
The gated community.
You
of-
understand? Or am I voting for, dude, those refugees that you guys went to help out during lockdown? Who needs it more? Who needs my vote more? I don't need my
Sorry
vote.
to
I'm
be
cool.
a party pooper. You can't really vote for refugees, can you?
No, man, you know what I mean? I mean, like, for let's call them, Moletsi Mbeki actually refers to them as something which I won't say because that one's a heavy term. But actually, he says it. He refers to them as the underclass, not in a derogatory way. What he's saying is these are the people who depend on the system
Got you.
more than the system depends on them, kind of thing. Those people need us to vote in the right direction. Otherwise, no opportunities. Their lives are not going to change much. And they are really going through it. Whereas we, coming from a point of privilege, are living in areas and we have lifestyles that our affordability allows us to kind of ignore the things that really need to be fixed.
Sure.
To a point, till that reality becomes your reality. Because when the whole shit comes collapsing down, like
Hard.
load shedding, at a point at which our generators can't run for 24 hours.
Mm.
I mean, I've seen articles now in the past few months. They're talking about like stage 13. What the fuck? Stage 13. That's like a whole day without power. Then we're going to have a serious crisis. Because those very same people who we can call the underclass or the vast majority of the voting base by numbers. Dude, what are they supposed to do when the shit hits the fan in that way?
Whereas when you spoke about Mbeki, you made me think of his brother, our former president, and
Thabo Mbeki, yes.
And I want to tie everything that we've been speaking about, right, in terms of why aren't you voting, the blaming and the all of, right, by just putting to you a scenario, a real life scenario that reflects our society as a country, which is we had a president, Thabo Mbeki, who is a scholar, who came, the way that he spoke and everything that he brought to the table in his presidency and his leadership style. First of all, he comes from a family of scholars. His father was one as well. And so everything that he was speaking of and everything that he was doing during his presidency was all about the future for the country. He positioned South Africa at the forefront economically, you know?
Yes.
In
And
terms
his
of
brother's an
the
academic
developing
as well.
countries.
Bali's a
You know? How is
world-leading
it
economist.
that we're in a country, and this is like, I'm saying this, and it's food for thought. It's not pretty. This is a hard pill to swallow for everybody that's watching this, especially if you're South African, which is, how is it that we have somebody like that in power, and we look at him like, I law, with these big words, I law is not relatable, ing. And who do you put into power after that? Somebody who, before he even gets the seat, already there's a situation with a rape, an alleged rape, an alleged this. And that's the person that you put in that seat. You had this, and you chose this. You had this, and you chose this. I'm using extremely simple language in what I'm trying to say, and I'm hoping that you're getting the message that I'm saying. And I'm hoping that it's causing you to reflect on who you are as a person, how you view yourself, how you view your country, and how you view where you want it to go.
But do you think we needed a scholar? Just hear me out. Because there's a place next door that was led by another scholar, Robert Mugabe.
Yes.
Man was highly educated, arguably most highly educated president on the African continent. He put the place in the place. And now the place is the place. And now we are seeing the consequences of the destruction of Zimbabwe, because all of the Zimbabweans that come across the border are coming here because it's bad there, and they're looking for better opportunities here. Now, why I'm saying that is because he had these bright visions of the future. If you listen to his speeches from far back, he spoke with a future focus, very eloquent in his language. He articulated himself with the Queen's English. But at some point, he was like, fuck it, this is Africa, fam. Give the land back, everybody, fuck off.
Yeah.
Worst idea, because clearly, look what's happened there now. They've got the land, but the place has completely collapsed. And in the same way here, we had Thabo Mbeki in, and he was a scholar. But in the time that, it's almost like everyone is beholden to the system where the most popular, we need leaders, obviously, that are chosen by the people. But when you let the people choose, the people are choosing the cool guy. The people are choosing the one who's the most popular.
And the same thing happened in the US.
There we go. Exactly. That's very true. I mean, Donald Trump, say whatever you want about Donald Trump. They love that guy, dog. Because he represents the vast majority of Americans. Those ones in the, what is it called, belt.
What color?
He's a Republican.
What?
Redneck. Yeah. No, but not even. Even if you take what is it called, that belt in America?
I don't know it.
It's the one there, from here down. Right?
Aye.
It's more people.
States.
Right? It's more people. But you can say Trump is a what and he's a what. Except those people love that. Dog.
What do you want to say?
No, what I wanted to say was
why are you so far back also?
I'm here. I'm with you. We're rocking.
He's like,
no, what I wanted to say to you was, I get obviously the educational element in terms of leading, countries and people to a brighter light. But I remember hearing a saying that says African countries need African leaders to resolve African problems, right? And a lot of the time,
in an African way.
Yeah, I guess in an African way, where a lot of these solutions by these educated people are very Western or European in their thinking, and it's not really going to solve our problems. So it's like, yeah, you've got this great thinking and this great...
You are the guy.
Yeah,
no,
the guy.
But wait. We had that though.
Sure.
We in the 60s and 70s, we had that. We had Julius Nyerere. We had Kwame Nkrumah.
Let's talk post-apartheid now that we've
in South Africa, because I'm talking about across Africa right now. We had leaders like Gaddafi.
Sure.
We had those people, and they were radical. And I mean, you had the socialist experiment in was it Tanzania? Yeah, in Tanzania, right? You had all of these leaders who came immediately when Africa got its independence, which will say from 63, that's when everything
because
started.
all of those European countries, European countries still had some sort of, call it sanctions or things that you can have your political freedom,
have political power,
but economically,
we'll have economic power.
Yeah.
And that's also, each country had its own form of reconciliation. We had ours, right? We can look at home and say, ish, but the guys and the da-da-da-da-da. They were the Francophone African countries who they also had their own. And it's an extremely complicated process or it's an extremely complicated concept to grapple because decisions were made that were either, a lot of them were pretty detrimental to the country and to their people.
But they were made by individuals for whom it wasn't detrimental.
Exactly.
A lot of them got very rich for signing a paper.
And so, and this is why I'm like, guys, there's like, why are we not reading books? Because there's so much that needs to be done. There's so much that we need to understand about what's going on in our continent. What you're speaking of is called neo-colonialism. We're still colonized in a sense. And
Next
this is
to pandering, neo-colonialism.
and it's moved from governmental to economic.
Sure.
Right? Now, how do you better your country, your people, and remove that thing? Now, you have to do it in a diplomatic way because at the end of the day, the people that were the neo-colonizers, they're still going to be there. And you can't just tell them to F off because that's what happened in our neighboring country. And, you
Didn't
know,
work.
And so
some countries are doing it now to the French.
But and that's the thing. It calls for serious political skills. You need serious politicians and diplomats, right? There's such a, I think there's such a huge opportunity, especially for young people, to come in and do that because that is the future of our continent. We need to have people that are going to be negotiating for the future ownership, to take back the ownership of our continent, not just our country.
But they must also negotiate it on behalf of the continent.
The people.
Because I think the leaders for the longest time, they negotiate the deals on behalf of themselves.
Stomachs.
And every example, plays in. But again, it's like, this is the deal. We want to continue taking gold. We want to continue taking oil. You have the political power. You be in charge, my man. Here's a Rolls Royce for you to drive on fucking dirt roads. Laka. Here's a bank account, or here's like money
Swiss
in US dollars.
Warawara.
Like all of these shiny things to impress the leader. And then the leaders make the decisions that are great for them, detrimental to the country.
Sure.
Now the conspiracy theorist in me is going to say they were infiltrated.
Before we go there,
They
lastly,
planted.
wait, quickly. He also mentioned the fact that you remember he's saying, why aren't we reading books? PH mentioned as well in that episode, we were saying that like if the pass rate is 33%, I think the question really is can people really read at a level where they can digest books for them to give to you understand, for them to understand and apply.
Look, I think we can obviously go on forever about this. We would love to get you another episode. What I want to ask before we wrap it up is just what do you not? I don't want to say that cheesy question of what do you want to be known for, but like the social change that you strive for. What are the things? If you were campaigning to be president, what does Lerai stand for in terms of what would be changed in this country? And instead of asking you what you'd want
and
to
you
be
can't say
for,
death penalty, that's mine.
You are cutthroat, Warras.
Yeah,
Death penalty.
if you were put in the position of power to make change, to this country, where would you start with? And how would it look like?
Any vision that I have will never be for our country only in isolation. It will always be it'll be about Africa.
Okay, Thabo Mbeki.
Because
United States.
no,
Okay,
the reason why I say this is because we cannot look at ourselves
I'm an African
as just South Africa. We can't look at ourselves and be like, no, we are the leaders economically. We are the ones that have the richest square mile because look how many years ago they passed us.
Kenya's whipping our ass right now.
They're starting to whoop our asses. You know what I'm saying? And they're more aligned with one another.
Sure.
You know? Yes, of course, we've got tons of conflict across the continent, you know? And for me, what I want to do is be part of the process of fulfilling the vision that all these great leaders, all these great African leaders envisioned when they started the Organization of African Unity.
The actual idea on paper.
AU, right? Because honestly speaking, I can speak about what I want to see, what I want. I have a vision, I have a dream, but it's all been said before.
Yeah.
What I'm about is execution.
Action.
Me too. Execution. Death penalty
action.
now. I'm about that action.
Sure.
And if to each their own in that sense, but it's really about execution. And so what I will say is I want to be part of seeing an organization like the African Union becoming and having
Actually
the
having
sovereign
teeth.
power. Yes, like the EU does. And seeing collaboration between African countries, seeing trade happen across African countries
On
with
African terms.
currency on African terms.
Love that.
Because that's, you know what, we actually don't need aid from anywhere else.
Dude.
We have all the resources here. We have all the minds. Because let me tell you, as much as we may be saying, you know, we can joke and say, why aren't you guys reading? But guys, we have so much talent on this continent, so much so that it is being poached and taken to the West. That has to show you that, guys, we have the minds.
Definitely.
And we are the future of the entire world. We have the youngest population across this entire continent. That's why all those Western companies are coming to Africa. We just need to work with each other.
Got you.
Because the only reason why colonization was
Successful.
successful was because they divided us.
Yeah.
They broke the very roots, the very back of what our values are
What
as
united us.
Africans, which is unity.
And they said, you're a Zulu, you're a Xhosa, you're
Exactly.
a Shangaan,
If
you're
we
a
can
Zimbabwean.
work, that I want to be part of that. When I say I want to be a world leader,
You're a
Yeah,
Kalahari.
I want to
Mashangana.
be part of that
Yeah, la
squad.
Mashangana.
What's it, Shawela?
Gombela.
No, execute again, girl. You
All
must
right.
keep executing.
I think, yeah.
and
because-
this
we
was such a
done?
refreshing
Wait,
No,
conversation.
let's keep talking,
wait,
guys.
Wait.
Talk as long as you like. We are not women in tech. Fageni spool, pagai.
Okay, cool. I think that's dope. What's next for you? Sorry, obviously you know there's the new TV gig. Plug us.
We've got the new TV gig. You can see me on channel 322 MTV Base.
Wow,
Shout
sure.
out.
The home of single people.
How do you deal with him?
Hey,
How do you
yin
guys
yang,
deal with him?
yin yangs, balancing act. Yeah.
You're also going to be seeing the actor Lerai.
Shout out.
Because I was that before I actually started presenting.
Okay.
On movies, TV.
All of.
Netflix.
All of. I'm not gonna
It's
say
Netflix,
much.
This one.
But you're gonna be seeing that.
Dope.
You're also going to be seeing Rai Talks growing.
On a bigger platform.
It's gonna be on a bigger platform.
More
So just
consistent.
focus on that.
Can we come to Rai Talks?
We'll damage that one, Chief.
Hey? Or is that one like
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Straight and narrow.
After you read that book, you can come.
PH? Send me the
Let's
link to
make
the
a deal.
audio book.
Got you.
Thank you. Deal done.
Ne?
You should on it already.
Cool.
Matubel.
Got you. All right. Anything else? Who busy right now?
Check out my socials because
What?
they
Yeah.
will always
Where
be
can you find you on the
updates there.
socials?
My handles everywhere. L.E.R.A.I. Lerai.
Okay. Her name is Lerai. She has sat on this lovely chair. She's our first guest. Thank you very much for your time.
Dude.
We know that you are a busy person. And we'd like to thank you for your time and wish you all the best. You are going to change the world. We definitely
There's no
believe in
two
you.
ways about
I
it.
do not want
After today, I believe it.
I do not want to see you at any of my gigs. Otherwise,
Initially, we brought you here because you are pretty. But then you came and you
not
showed
even,
us,
not
and I
even.
said, hey.
Please continue changing the world. Please you are literally, you know that saying that says, be the change that you want to see. You are that. Continue being super awesome. Believe in you. If ever you start a political company,
Political company.
Yeah, English.
Okay.
Program. If ever you obviously start a political party, we'll definitely, have our vote and continue being the change amongst your peers, being the influence, because you are influential. Continue being influential.
Being an
and-
uncle again.
Yeah, I'm being an uncle and
I'm going to be
Don't
a big
forget.
brother. If you need us to help with any of that
Don't
stuff,
forget.
we are.
please.
Thank you. You
The
can
se-
come through anytime.
the
What a
7 Ps.
refreshing interview. Right?
The 7 Ps.
The
Books
7 Ps.
before boys. Because
Boys bring babies. And on
That's
that
it.
note,
Take it easy, and if it's easy,
take it home.
all the time.
Fucking volume, boy.